Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to remove mould lines from your miniatures. Mould lines are a byproduct of the manufacturing process and will appear on every single part of your plastic or metal kits. The GW kits are generally really good and the mould lines aren't too bad. But if you do work with any cheaper kits from outside GW or older Games Workshop kits, you'll just realise how good the current kits are. You definitely want to remove mould lines before painting, as they can look really out of place. And for this you'll need at an absolute minimum a hobby knife. A hobby file is also very helpful, and I have a toothbrush to brush away any plastic that I've removed, as well as a Tupperware container to capture any excess plastic in an effort to keep things tidy and not make too much of a mess. In this video I've sequenced it, so I'll look initially at some easy parts to do and move towards the end with more complex, tricky and fiddly parts. The kit I'm working on is the Astra Militarum Sentinel by Games Workshop. Right, so starting off with the base of the model, you can see on the very edge at the bottom is a bit of excess plastic. Very easy to take off just with your hobby blade. Next you can see I'm going to work on some sort of plastic studs that remain from the sprue. I'm using the file basically to wear these down, and you're going to have plenty of these on the individual parts, bits of leftover sprue. You might have to use a pair of pliers like I am here to take off any big chunks, and you're going to have to alternate between using your hobby blade and the nail file or the hobby file to smooth things out. I use typically the blade to remove any chunky parts and then use the file to smooth it off after. You can see here I'm using the file to remove these mould lines as well. On the tip of the autocannon, which I'm doing here, you can see again I use a blade to take off big chunks of plastic from the sprue before moving on to my file to give it a nice flat finish once again. And this is where the toothbrush is helpful to sweep away any excess build-up. Now this next part's a bit trickier. It's got a lot of curves on it. And I'm using the file again to basically follow the shape around as I file away. You can see I'm using short sweeping strokes across the different aspects of the model piece to get away those mould lines. Now with this piece, the area one again, it's a bit harder because it's in between two others. So initially I'm using the blade to remove any chunks, and now using the edge of the blade to almost carve away those mould lines and excess plastic. On some high detail areas will be some excess plastic, like on the exhaust of this rocket launcher. Just like the base earlier, just use your blade to remove these. Now this piece is a bit more delicate, and there are lines all over the roll cage of this model. As you can see, I'm placing each piece up against my thumbnail to support the piece. You don't want to bend or worst case snap the part by applying pressure onto the piece by itself. Now onto a human piece. This is the arm of the pilot. And you can see a mould line follows it all along his arm and covers a fair bit of the detail from the crinkles in his clothing. So just use your blade again, being very gentle to remove all of these lines. As I said, be very gentle and be careful not to take out chunks of any detail by mistake. Next onto the pilot's head, and again I'm being very gentle and following the shape of the piece with my blade and applying even pressure as I move along each part. You can see there in particular was a little bit left over, which I've carefully removed with the blade. And lastly, don't forget that once you've glued pieces together, there could be some irregularities in the fit. Also, for some parts it's just easier to remove mould lines once they're all assembled, just like with this missile launcher here. It's easier to get a flat, consistent finish across the two parts when glued together. If done separately, you could be too liberal on one piece and not enough on the other, resulting in an inconsistent fit. So there you have it, how to remove mould lines. A short video, as I don't think there's much point in me showing you more examples of how to do it. Definitely get practicing, it is quite time consuming as well, just be aware. I should have said from the start to be careful when working with a blade. If you're new to the hobby, make sure you always cut away from yourself when using a hobby blade. I get away with it because I've been using this for quite a while. Right, so hopefully it was helpful. Let me know in the comments and via a like. And don't forget to subscribe as well. My channel covers all aspects of the hobby, from hobby basics, assembling, kit bashing, painting, and tabletop tactics for Astra Militarum. Thanks for watching. See you next time.